If you've been struggling with being a people pleaser for a while, then this video may be the most important video you watch, because in this video, I will tell you exactly why you're doing what you're doing and real-time solutions to help you fix this issue once and for all. So let's talk about some of the ways that being a people pleaser is actually costing you rather than helping you. Firstly, you become a target for other people who see you as a valuable resource. And why would you be a valuable resource? Well, you're willing to expend your time, energy, effort, and emotions to further someone else's goals. They take so much away from you that I've started to label these people as takers. So these takers come in, they see a victim, which is you, and they exploit you for all of your resources, including emotions, because you'll meet some of these toxic vampires, as I call them, emotional vampires, that feed off of you. And what's worse is that a lot of times you're completely unconscious to the fact that they're purposely manipulating you for their own selfish gain. Over a period of time, though, you start to build some awareness that these people are purposely using you. And what ends up happening is that this resentment starts to bubble up within you because you know you're being used. You can't even stop your repetitive patterns of behavior, of giving to these people when you know you're being used. And it starts to come out in very ugly ways. Passive aggressiveness is a very common way. And why passive aggressiveness? Is it because you're meek? Well, maybe. It's because this anger that starts building up inside of you wants to be expressed and come out. Unfortunately, you also have this submissive side of yourself, the side of yourself that is controlling your speech patterns, your behavior, your emotions even. And because of that submissiveness, the way that it comes out is very passive aggressive. And it also starts to build resentment in other people by doing it that way. Your relationships end up suffering because, as you know, when you're in a relationship, the way to a healthy relationship is built through honesty, communication, trust, and expression. And unfortunately, when you are a people pleaser, you modify each one of those things and you end up walking on eggshells in this personal relationship that you have with this person. It's not just with romantic relationships, it's also with family. You know, you might have a hypercritical dad or a grandpa or somebody else in your family that's extremely critical of everything that you do, everything that you say. And you end up modifying even your life goals for this other person. And that person ends up being critical all the way until the day that they die. You're hoping that you can get their love, affection, approval, whatever from this person. And that never ends up happening. Your needs also go unmet because you're doing so much for other people that you put yourself on the back burner. You are the judge and the lawyer in your case. And what do I mean by that? You have the judge that is this other person that you're trying to please for whatever reason. And the lawyer is supposed to be you. And even your own lawyer, which is you, is not on your side. You're ending up losing a battle that you could never win in the first place because the judge, this other person, will continuously take more and more away from you. Your own lawyer that's supposed to defend you, which is yourself in this metaphorical situation, is also against you because nothing you do will ever be good enough for somebody else. And you try to overcompensate by being even more nice, doing even more things, and you end up losing. And it's very unfortunate because it's not just with personal relationships, it's also with work. Have you ever been in a situation where a coworker asked you to do a favor for him or her, and they continuously start to ask you to do more and more things for them? They get to go home and enjoy time with their family, their kids, their friends, and you're still slaving and working away at this job just to help somebody get their job or their deadlines met because you were unable to healthily express yourself, and express your boundaries. It's unfortunate because in that situation, you get nothing done. You're too timid to delegate to other people. So you hold everything deep inside. You end up failing in life, work, personal relationships. You end up being this bitter, passive aggressive monster. And more than that, you're just not in an authentic communication with yourself. You feel like there's two sides of you, the side that you want other people to see, and the side of you that is the true you that you want to suppress, hide, and just throw away in a dark room and have nobody ever see that person. You end up being exploited and being used and abused by these takers. It's not like the whole world is against you, that they're all going to exploit you. No. But I bet you that the vast majority of people that you're specifically trying to be nice to with hopes that they will be nice to you in return know that you're doing this and use you and exploit you. And it's an unfortunate reality. So, what exactly is people pleasing? You know how being a people pleaser can cost you. So, what exactly is a what exactly does it mean to have the people pleaser syndrome? Well, the people pleaser syndrome can be characterized by the definition of a repetitive, even compulsive behavior of yours that you modify in order to appease other people. That's it. The simple answer, the simple definition is that it's a repetitive, compulsive pattern of behavior in order to get something out of other people. Well, why is this important? Because if you know the definition, the next thing you would need to know would be the components that make up the syndrome. And by making up or by understanding the different components, you can start to make changes to each one of those components or even one component, and it turns into this cascading effect that breaks that repetitive pattern of behavior. Because all these things feed into each other. There are three major components of being a people pleaser. There are habits, mindsets, and there are feelings. And by knowing each one of these components and breaking it down, by making one simple change to any one of these three components, it will alter and change the way that you behave. You can finally break free from this people pleaser syndrome, this disease to please, which is unironically the name of the book that I learned a lot of this stuff from. This book actually helped me a lot. And the lady has she's a PhD psychologist. She has Harriet Baker, I think. She has a bunch of different things I'm about to read to you right now. But before I do, let's just break down those components into, let's just break it down and go into more depth. So let's break down each one of the three components that go into being a people pleaser. The first is habits. You're in this habitual loop of wanting to please others. It's extremely compulsive, and you need to figure out how to break that habit down. And I'll go over that later. The second is mindsets. What is the mindset of a people pleaser? Why do they even do these things, right? A lot of times it has to do with the fact that you are afraid of being rejected. You're afraid of being ostracized from a community that you belong to, from the society. You're afraid of these things. So you temper and alter your behaviors. And the third is feelings. It actually bleeds into feelings. You're so afraid of encountering disapproval from other people, from disappointing other people, from having a negative light cast on you for expressing yourself and speaking your mind and establishing boundaries, that you automatically engage in this compulsive behavior in order to avoid those negative feelings. All three things are linked to each other. If you can break one of these three components down and you alter or even make one single change to each one of these components or any of these components, you will see that it turns into this cascading effect, and all these other patterns of behavior that have been intertwined together end up actually breaking down. And I'll show you how. So, Dr. Baker, the psychologist who wrote the book The Disease to Please, has a list of false beliefs that people pleasers have on a daily basis. There's 6 very common ones. I'm going to read this list out to you, and I want you to just listen with an open mind and try to recall instances in the past or even current present moment where you have exhibited or embodied some of these beliefs. And then I want you to really think about whether these beliefs are actually helping you or if they're false beliefs. Just have an open, critical mind, is all I ask. So, the first false belief that a people pleaser has is being nice is important. Being nice is important. Is it really important? Is it really that important? Think about that. Have there been times when you've thought that being nice is important? I feel like we all have, right? That's a very common thing. But why is it important? Why do you believe that being nice is important? What do you hope to gain or achieve from this belief? And does it actually work in reality? Let's look at the world with clear, unobstructed open minds or open eyes. Let's clear this fog away from our eyes. Do you really believe that being nice is that important? The second one, life is fair, and nice people get to avoid painful experiences. Nice people get to avoid painful experiences. You ever had that belief? Did you still have painful experiences despite how nice you were? Has this belief helped you? Has it hurt you? Number 3, what people think of me is important. What people think of me is important. Why do you think that what other people think of you is important? Why is it important? Why does it matter what they think of you? And I don't mean that in just the regular way that most people normally throw it out, but why is it important what they think of you? Number 4, if you're hurt or rejected, you weren't nice enough. You should have been more nice. That would have changed it. That would have changed the situation. That would have changed the person if you were more nice. If you're hurt or rejected, you weren't nice enough. Can you think of instances in the past where you've had this belief? Did it help you? Number 5, if I don't put other people first, then I'm being selfish and not nice. In other words, if I put myself first, then I'm selfish and an asshole. What do you think about that? Do you think by putting yourself first that you're a horrible human being? Do you really believe that? Has it helped you by putting other people first? Or has it been a detriment to your own life? And the last, whatever you do doesn't stick. Every day you must prove your niceness all over again. Do you catch yourself in situations where you have to prove your niceness again and again and again with the same person, with the same group? Does this belief help you? Does it hurt you? Is it actually valid in the real world? Think about these things. Dr. Baker talks about the 10 commandments of people pleasers, and here they are. Always do what others want, expect, or need from me. I always do what others want, expect, or need from me. This is my identity as a people pleaser. I embody this, I'm always going to do what other people ask, want, or what I think they expect from me. I always take care of everyone around me, whether they ask for help or not. Man, I'm such a nice guy. I'm going to help this person out. They didn't even ask for help. I'm going to help them out. This person asked me for help yesterday, day before yesterday, the week before, the month before, and you know what? I'm going to continue to help this person out. Man, I'm such a nice guy. Such a good person. I always listen to everybody's problems and try my best to solve it. I always listen to everyone's problem and I try my best to solve it for them. Are you that person? That when people have problems, they come to you? Do they expect you to fix it? Do they just maybe want to vent? Or maybe they do expect you to fix it because you've done it for them in the past before. And then they just see you as easy pickings, an easy target, because they know nobody else is going to help them but you. Commandment number 4. I always will try to be nice and never hurt anybody's feelings. So, in that situation, or according to this command, you're always going to be nice and not try to hurt anybody's feelings, right? You're an altruistic, good human being, aren't you? You're a great person. You're always going to try to make other people feel nice, except yourself. Except yourself. You're not being nice to yourself and you're not being kind to yourself. But everybody else feels great, except you. Commandment number 5. I always put other people first before me. I'm always putting other people first before me. Doesn't matter that these people are not going to be in my lives or my life for the next however long. It doesn't matter that they saw me as an easy target to exploit and use. I'm still going to put them first. Never say no to anyone who needs or requests something of me. I am never going to say no for somebody that comes to me and asks for help, because they must have great intentions. Isn't that right? They come to me when they are weak, downtrodden, down on their luck, financial hardships, difficulties. It doesn't matter that this person is trying to emotionally manipulate me or gaslight me. None of those things matter. I'll never say no to anybody who asks anything of me. I'll never disappoint anyone or let others down in any way. I'm not going to let that person down, my boss, my ex, my family, my friends. I'm not going to let anybody down, because they must see me in this great light if they're coming to me for help, or they're asking me to do their taxes for them, or their homework, or their work, or whatever. I'll never disappoint anyone or let any others down in any way. I'll always be happy and upbeat and and never show negative feelings to others. I will always be happy and upbeat and never show any negative feelings to others. Man, my life is so great. I'm always smiling. I'm always happy. There's never a single moment that I'm feeling uncertain, anxious, angry, sad. None of these things. What other people see on the outside is what I must be feeling on the inside. And I must keep up appearances. And I must not let anybody see me in this horrible light. I will always try to please other people and make them happy. I will never burden others with my own needs or problems. It doesn't matter that I have so many issues going on in my life. It doesn't matter that I need help. It doesn't matter that I have my own boundaries. None of these things matter. What matters is other people's needs, other people's problems, not mine. For I am insignificant and have no value. Why do you think that Dr. Baker listed these as 10 commandments of the people pleasers? She must have seen it so repetitively in her patients. And these 10 commandments are belief structures that people pleasers hold close to their heart, an emotional shield to prevent them from experiencing those negative feelings. But I want you to think about something. Don't you still feel those emotions anyway? Don't you still feel rejection? Don't you still feel fear? Don't you still feel anger, resentment, and hatred anyway? Do you think by shoving it down, by altering your behavior, that it's hiding these emotions, that it's eradicating these emotions? Or does suppression end up causing these emotions to come out in unhealthy ways? Whether it's through mentally beating yourself up for going against something that you never wanted to do in the first place for somebody else you don't even like. Whether it ends up coming out in passive aggressiveness with other people that you're trying to please because you're so sick and tired of it. One day you end up having an outburst of pure anger. And what's worse is that you've allowed other people to exploit you for so long that it's turned into this pattern of behavior, not just for you, but also for the other person. You've allowed them to cross your boundaries repeatedly over and over. You've allowed them to exploit you. You've allowed them to take advantage of your generosity, your kindness. And I really want you to think about what you got in return. I remember a time I was extremely poor, and this person had asked me, I was like in my very early 20s, and this person had asked me if she could borrow $2,000. And at that time, I barely had $2,000. I had been saving for so long, just saving. They said that they needed to go to this other country. Their mom was sick, like all this other stuff. Come to find out the mom was not even sick. I gave the $2,000. This is before I knew all this stuff. And I remember, like, she ended up coming back, and I would hit her up asking for the money back. Even made like payment plans and all these other things. And I remember I worried so incessantly for 6 painful months just asking for this money back. I never even wanted to give it to her in the first place, but I just felt like she had this power over me where if I gave it to her, she would see me in this positive light. If I gave it to her, I would be the reason that her mom was able to see her and was able to spend time with her. And this money would be going towards like medical bills, so I would come out as the hero or the savior. Come to find out, she had lied about all that stuff in the first place. She had used that money on a bunch of other things I don't even want to go into. And I had put myself through this mental anguish for 6 months, begging for this money back, just trying to get this money back. And when she finally gave it to me 6 months later, she was so resentful and pissed off that I kept on bothering her for this money I had given her back. She was like, "Here, just take it." And when she gave it to me, I remember seeing the money in my bank again, and it was $2,000. And I remember thinking, I put myself through 6 months of mental anguish for this person to get this money back. And sure, I got the money back, but guess what? 6 months of mental anguish for not even a cent more. That bank account was the same as before. And all I gained from that experience was a series of turmoil and mental anguish. And I didn't even get a cent extra. So, let's talk about what Dr. Baker says is the reason why a lot of people are nice when they don't even want to be. They're building these social constructs in their head because they're making contracts that they hope come into fruition. What do I mean by that? Obviously, when I was nice to this girl, it's not really because I wanted to give $2,000 away. It's because I wanted something in return. That's the truth. People think that they're being nice just to be nice. But no, a lot of times people are being nice to control and manipulate a situation in order to get the best desired outcome. And you may say, no, that's not me, Robin. I believe that I'm doing this out of the altruistic nature and kindness that's in my heart. But in reality, you're building social contracts. And Dr. Baker agrees, because this is what she says are the 7 deadly shoulds. Other people should appreciate and love me because of all the things I do for them. So here you are being nice to other people, and you're expecting them to be nice to you in return. You think by you being nice and going out of your way to help them financially, emotionally, in whatever way possible, that they're going to do the same thing back for you. Is that true? How's that been working out for you? Other people should always like and approve of me because of how hard I work to please them. Doesn't my boss see me working overtime unpaid? Doesn't he or she see how hard I'm working? Surely they do. And surely I'll be rewarded with that bonus or that increase in my salary because I'm working so hard. Nobody else wanted to do it. Obviously, they threw it on me because they knew that I could not say no. Other people should never reject or criticize me because I always try to live up to their desires and expectations. By being nice, by being a good guy, a nice guy, I will never face rejection, right? It's not because I don't ask for what I want, it's because I'm nice. Other people should be kind and caring to me in return because of how well I treat them. Like that story, or that common occurrence at this point, of a young woman who is taking care of her family, meeting all of their needs and their incessant demands and desires. She's going out of her way, breaking her back to appease everybody in her family. And then one day she gets sick, ends up in the hospital, gets out of the hospital, still kind of sick, comes home. And instead of a warm family that embraces her and hugs her and says, "How was your hospital stay? How are you feeling? Let me take care of you," all these other things. She comes home to a bitter, resentful family that say, "Hey, while you were gone, the dishes are still not clean. The house is in disarray. You look like a mess." They don't even welcome her back because all they see are things going wrong because she wasn't here. They've completely dismissed her health for their own selfish wants and desires. Other people never leave or abandon me because of how much I make them need me. You do so much for this other person. You fill up their gas. You fix the car. You clean it. You do a little odd jobs around the house. A new employee comes and joins, and you decide to help them out by doing a lot of their work for them because they're new. Because he's cool or she's cool. And you think by doing all these things that they'll never leave you or abandon you. But they inevitably do. Other people should never be angry with me because I would go through any length to avoid conflict, anger, or confrontation. So, let's talk about the solution. I don't know if you remember, but earlier I mentioned that by altering any one of those three components of the people pleaser syndrome, which, is habits, mindsets, and emotions, by altering any one of these three components, it will trigger a cascade effect where other parts of the people pleaser syndrome will be disrupted just because these three components are so intertwined with each other. Let's start with a mindset shift. It's not that you're being selfish by expressing your boundaries or your desires. It's not selfish. It's enlightened self-interest. You're your only person that's going to be with you 24/7, 365 from the day that you're born until the day that you die. And you might as well be kind to yourself because that person who is you is the only person that will be there through thick and thin, whether you like it or not. You're stuck with yourself. So you might as well learn to have this enlightened self-interest because at the end of the day, other people may come and go, whether it's family, friendships, romantic relationships, coworkers, bosses. These people, they come and go. So your efforts that you're expending your energy that you're expending to please these people should actually be used for yourself. I want you to realize that being a people pleaser is actually a very self destructive nature. It's a self destructive behavior. You're being horrible to yourself while pleasing everybody else. You're appeasing other people's interests and desires, and you're furthering their goals at the expense and cost to yourself. Really internalize that. You're putting your own self behind to further other people. I want you to internalize that it's okay to not be nice. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself. There's nothing wrong with expressing your boundaries. There's nothing wrong with saying no. People won't look at you and think that you're any less. In fact, a lot of them will actually be glad you said no. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but think about this. You establish your boundaries early on, and they'll respect you for actually speaking your mind. And they may even question themselves. And if you really are a people pleaser, you would understand that by saying no, you're actually helping them. You're helping them to see that what they're doing by targeting you or targeting other people is actually bad behavior. Maybe these people have never been used to saying no. It's like that old school adage where they say the best way to stop a bully is to actually get into a fight with that person, to actually stand up for yourself. Because this bully got away for so long in the same pattern because nobody had stood up to him. So you're actually doing other people a favor. You only need your own acceptance. You don't need anybody else's acceptance. You only need your own. It's what I just mentioned earlier. You're with yourself 24/7. Nobody else matters but yourself. Truly, your experience of this world is yours, nobody else's. And by putting yourself in situations that you don't even want to be in, you're giving yourself a bad experience of this world. You're purposely creating situations that are negative. You're beating yourself up on the inside because you know you should not be doing this. You know that this is not the true and authentic version of yourself. How do you get away from this? Dr. Baker says that exposure therapy is a very common way. You have to have competent anger management. You need to have conflict resolution skills. You need to have assertive communication and general social skills. Those are some of the mindset shifts. Let's talk about some actionable techniques, and I'll give you a couple here. The first thing I want you to do is for the next 2 days, just 2 days, I want you to be completely aware of every time you have a knee-jerk reaction when somebody asks you to do something for them. And hey, if it takes more than 2 days, no problem. Do it for a week. It doesn't matter. But I just want you to build that awareness of noticing when somebody asks something of you, noticing how that people pleaser side of you comes out, and noticing how you alter your behavior. I don't want you to change anything. I just want you to be aware of it. Continue to be doing things as you normally would. Continue to be a people pleaser, no problem. But just be aware. Just don't be unconscious. Just be very aware. And notice how you feel on the inside. And notice how your behavior changes. After that first week, I want you to remain steadfast against other people pressuring you, guilt tripping you, or manipulating you. So this is the second week, all right? First week, awareness of when people are taking advantage of you, when you're being a people pleaser and how you feel during those situations. The second week, I want you to say no. I want you to say no. I want you to remain steadfast. I want you to say no when people try to guilt trip you. I want you to say no when people try to manipulate you. I want you to say no and remain firm. It's not just like no and then, oh, okay, fine, I'll do it. No. It is, hey, I made this decision. No. No. So during the first week, you've built this awareness of when people are using you and how it makes you feel. The second week, you've built this resolution to remain steadfast and say no when people try to get you to do something you don't want to. And this third thing I'm about to mention is a technique that I use in real time, and I personally think you should too, because it helps you in very angry situations, or I should say, a lot of people pleasers are very conflict avoidant. And a lot of times they'll succumb into somebody else's desires or needs or advancing this other person's needs by doing whatever it takes to appease this other person just so that this other person's not angry anymore. It could be with a toxic boss, it could be with a relationship, it could be with a family member, it could be with a random person. But what do you do in a situation where you have remained steadfast and this person just gets angry again and again? Well, first you address the tone that this other person is speaking to you with. You say, excuse me, I don't like the tone that you're speaking to me with. Or, I don't like the tone that you're speaking to me with. Or, nobody talks to me in that tone. Or some variation of that, But you address the tone. The second part is you address the content of what they're asking from you. You say, like, for example, they're asking you to, come pick me up at so-and-so place, which is in a dangerous place, and you have to do this, etc. You push back against that, against the content, and you break it down. Address the tone, address the content. And then you address the subtext. Hey, don't yell and scream at me. Don't be angry at me. I'm not the reason that you're pissed. You address it. You call it out straight up. Try it, and you will be shocked at how much people will appreciate you more. I know it sounds crazy, but having courage is something that a lot of people don't have, and it's appreciated when it's seen. Trust me on this. And better yet, they won't ask you again. And if they do, just repeat these 3 steps and they'll just get tired of it. Here's some other things that I wrote down. Being too nice empowers the taker to take more. So you're being nice, but all you're doing is just enabling this other person to do repetitively this request or desire or behavior that they're trying to gain out of you. Because they know that they can take again and again and again. So you're actually empowering them. The more you like somebody, the more you try to please them, regardless of whether or not they deserve it. You build this grand vision of this person in your head just because you like this person. And you do everything for this person But do they really deserve it? Or is it just some fantasy that you made up in your head? And the last one is anger is a power move. Anger comes with the subtext that you are guilty. By being resolute, it means that you're accepting that you are not guilty. There are some great quotes from Dr. Baker's book, and I'm going to leave you with a couple of these. While people pleasers may feel they excel at making others happy, their real talent lies in making themselves feel miserable and inadequate. In unhealthy relationships, the feeling is, I love you because I need you. In healthy love, the feeling is, I need you because I love you. I love you because I need you versus I need you because I love you. If you stay far enough from people so they can't reach out and strike you, you're also too far for them to be able to reach out and embrace you. The old and patently false children's chant, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, needs revision. In reality, broken bones can heal relatively quickly, but words can and do leave deep wounds that sometimes never heal. Thank you guys for listening, watching, and like and subscribe. But more than that, comment. Comment on if there's any value that you gained out of this. Comment on topics that you might want me to discuss next time. Comment and let me know about instances when you felt so out of line with yourself by being a people pleaser. Comment and let me know about things that have helped you to not be a people pleaser. Comment and let me know about where situations have happened to you where you've done something for somebody else and it came out horribly wrong. Thank you guys. Again, appreciate you. Have a great day. Thank you for everything. Peace.